So while we've stopped questioning Mark there, he won't thank me for saying this, but he has to run off straight after the extended lunch break. So if any of you want to grab him for any more questions, then get him over the lunch break. Okay, bit of a change now. We're now moving into the divisional pieces, and we're starting with Beauty and Personal Care with Sunny Jain. Sunny, yours.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Richard. It's always a tough act to follow Mark, talking about digital twins, algorithms, high tech. So I'll do my best here. So hello, everybody. I'm Sunny Jain. I just joined 4 months ago, and I'm the new president of Beauty and Personal Care. It's a real honor to take on this position at such a great company. Today, I'll be presenting the Unilever Beauty and Personal Care division strategic choices and give some examples across our business demonstrating how we're going to bring these strategic choices to life. Now, before getting started, just at the break, I was already getting asked some questions around what are my first impressions about Unilever, about the Beauty and Personal Care, about the recent division performance. So I thought I would just start off with a couple of sound bites so that you don't have to ask me the same question at the lunch break here. First of all, my impression of Unilever's BPC division is that it's a powerhouse of strong global brands with leading market positions all over the world. It's backed with strong science and technology. It's got a great geographic footprint. It's got high-quality talent and leadership running these businesses. And digital transformation, as you've seen in Mark's presentation, as you'll hear throughout the next couple of days here, is high on the agenda, and we've got great pockets of brilliant executions all over the place. Now, looking at the recent division performance, our average growth rate in the past few years has been about 3%. Now, this is nice, steady growth, but it's not where we want to be, as Alan had mentioned earlier on in his presentation. And the main reasons for the 3% growth, again, nice and steady, but not where we want it to be, is we've got some slowdown in some global market growth. We've got a couple of hot spots in some of our big cells. We've got relatively low price growth in an environment of relatively lower commodity inflation. And our portfolio transformation needs to have a bigger play in higher growth channels and geographies. Now, going forward, we made clear strategic choices for BPC that are building on our strengths, as well as addressing our challenges to step up the growth. So let me now begin. So I should have said this before, safe harbor statement, so please take a note of that one. So firstly, as context, I just want to ground everybody on the division. We're a 21 billion euro business and have almost doubled in size since 2008, the last 10 years. And 2/3 of that growth has been coming from just organic growth. And 1/3 has come from our strategic acquisitions. Now, no doubt our acquisition activity draws attention and discussion, but the majority of our growth will continue in the future to come from steady expansion of our core brand and geographical footprint. In the same period, BPC has become a significantly bigger part of Unilever, growing from 28% to 42% turnover, and is now generating half the company's operating profit. Thanks for fixing the clock there. We operate with a strong portfolio of leading category positions. These are the 5 categories that we predominantly play in. We have a 5 billion euro skin cleansing business, which is 3 times as big as the next biggest player. Hair care, it's a 6 billion euro business, now number 1 globally in daily hair care. We have a 4 billion deodorants business where we're 4 times as big as the number 2, and we have the number 1, number 2, and number 3 deodorant brands across the world. And in skincare, we have a 3 billion euro business, and we're globally number 3. We have made it a priority to build scale, as skincare is the largest BPC category in the world. And I'm happy to report that this year, this is one of our fastest growing businesses. We also have a selective play in oral care. We're a 1.5 billion business there, and we generally are either the market leader or the number 2 player in the geographies in which we play. Going to this slide here, it shows our top 10 brands and our top 10 geographical footprints. So If we had more time, I'd play the flag game with you, but we won't do that today. But here on the left, we have the first 5 brands that have more than $1 billion of turnover. Dove, Rexona, Axe, Lux, Sunsilk. The next 5 are closely closing in on becoming billion-euro brands for us. On the right, we have our top 10 markets. And the first 5, again, these are greater than 1 billion euros, with the US here being our largest market. But it's important to point out that the developing and emerging markets account for 64% of our BPC turnover, and it's accounting for a majority of our growth. India is our second largest market, and Brazil, Indonesia, and China are all over 1 billion in size. So with that backdrop, what I wanted to now get into are the big drivers of future change in beauty and personal care. We have the speed of change is just continuing to accelerate, as we all know. And we've outlined here 4 big drivers or macro forces that are impacting our business and reframing the way we do business and engage with our consumers. So let me just touch very quickly on all 4 of them. So the first one's consumer fragmentation. As the world gets younger and older and migration continues, societies are becoming more diverse, leading to greater consumer fragmentation. This is creating opportunities for a much more sophisticated portfolio driven by the consumer trends. In channel fragmentation, we can see just in ourselves, as consumers are changing their habits in shopping, the channel importance is also shifting. And consumers are becoming more around, I want what I want when I want it. It's fast becoming the new normal, and we need to shift along with it. The digital and technology revolution, again, something that's pretty obvious to anyone here, but as it's becoming more implicit versus explicit, how people engage with brands will continue to evolve very quickly. And in the future, we have to really think about who will the consumer be? Is it the consumer that we know of today? Or will it be something like Mark was talking about, a digital twin or a digital avatar that we have to deal with? We need to think about these things as we're moving forward. Fragile planet. Consumers are seeking brands with a clear sense of purpose. In this new era of capitalism, brands that positively contribute to society with a lighter environmental footprint and actively support people and communities are more likely to flourish and grow. So these are the big 4 macro forces that we see. Now we see 3 specific beauty and personal care trends that are really shaping the portfolio and the innovation and the category plans that we have moving forward. So let me just talk very briefly about each of them. Naturals and sustainability. Well, the naturals trend is here to stay, and it's growing significantly well ahead of the average BPC growth rates. Consumers are increasingly becoming conscious of what they put not just in their body, but what they put on their body as well. And with the ever-increasing pressure on the world's limited resources, naturals and sustainability will have to converge as society realizes that the planet and its people need to coexist in harmony. With time, the sustainability paradigm in BPC will shift from, it's not just about doing less harm, it's about doing more good. Traceability, transparency, and no waste to approach to product will be paramount for us. And we have a very strong program behind naturals and sustainability, but we're going to make it even stronger. Our naturals portfolio in BPC reached about $3 billion in size this year, and will continue to be a bigger part of our portfolio moving forward. Now let me move to beauty and holistic wellness. Wellness is increasingly a lifestyle choice, and obviously a very important one. Today, the wellness economy is 3 times larger than the global pharma industry, and it's growing 2 times faster than other industries. Therapeutics will continue to grow as a segment as consumers increasingly seek out products that tackle the underlying root causes of unhappy skin, unhappy hair. They just want to feel good about themselves, but attack the root cause of the problem, not just cover it up. Within BPC, we'll also see the evolution from physical beauty to proactive wellness, and some predict that the microbiome will become one of the biggest health and beauty trends by 2025. And microbiomes won't just be about what's inside our body, will also be what's on our skin, outside our body. The science and technology will enable brands to move beyond products into services and experiences powered by data that will allow people to optimize their wellness day in and day out. You'll hear more from me later on how we're transforming our core portfolio to build on this trend. Now let me move to the personalization. As we move towards an omni-tech world, technology, as I mentioned earlier, will move from more being about explicit to implicit. And as we all know, the number of devices that are connected to the internet are just growing every single day. And they're expected to reach 75 billion by 2025, which is 3 times more than what they are today. The key is that our artificial intelligence and biometrics will combine transforming our health and well-being and targeting the granular needs of the individual. In this era, we'll see a shift from mass marketing and basic customization to personalization, where products and services are based on the very specific needs of the individual. And we see that in this world, that technology has the potential to know us better than we know ourselves, leveraging the individual genetics and epigenetics that we all have. Importantly, though, personalization will unlock the democratization of beauty. And underserved consumers like Gen Z, Gen S, Muslims, babies, kids will no longer be excluded from the beauty industry and the innovation that occurs. All consumers will have a voice and an equal one, and the communities that I just mentioned will flourish. We're tailoring our core innovation programs and launching new brands to better serve the needs of these underserved audiences in all key markets around the world. So now that I've set the stage here, let me get into our strategy. And let me start with our purpose. Our purpose at Unilever Beauty and Personal Care is beauty that cares for people, society, and our planet. We care for the whole person, both inside and out. We care for the whole of society, promoting greater equality and inclusion. We care for the whole planet, improving the health of the world we all share. And if we think about our 3 strategic choices for Unilever BPC, they're the 3 that are listed on the slide here. Purposeful brands, building a future-fit portfolio, and focusing on the high-growth channels. And these strategic choices will all be underpinned by 2 big things: digital transformation, which you're going to see and hear about next couple days, and agile teams. As Alan said in his opening presentation, building purposeful brands for us is a top priority. And it's also a top priority for BPC as well. Purpose is no longer a thing, it's now a trend. A new generation of informed, skeptical, and action-focused consumers are choosing brands based on their values and purposes. And to attract these generations, our big brands need to also be purposeful. Alan shared statistics that were quite mind-boggling. For example, 75% of millennials would be more loyal to a company that helps them contribute to social and environmental issues. And so with this growing loyalty towards purposeful brands, the key that we need to see is that the link between purpose driving performance. And there's studies out there, including our own studies, that show that this link does exist. So let me just share some statistics. If we go to Kantar Consulting, they've surveyed more than 20,000 consumers and carried out over 100 deep dive interviews with leading brands all over the world. Their studies found that brands with a high sense of purpose have seen their brand valuation increase by 175% over the past 12 years versus a median growth rate of 86%. So it's almost double. And a growth rate of 70% for brands with a low sense of purpose. Brands with strong sustainable living purpose have 1.5 times higher brand power. They're growing 2 times faster than the average brand in their Kantar BrandZ database, and are growing 2 times faster than brands that are low on the sustainable living purpose metric in their BrandZ database. Now let me flip to a study that we've done here at Unilever, right here in the US. We studied the impact of our own communications over a 4-year period. And this analysis showed that when we had purpose communication directed to the consumer, it delivered an ROI that was 3 times bigger than just new news communication. And it's important to note that the ROI is not a long-term ROI. ROIs are measured here on a short-term basis. So this is results that we're seeing right now. And it's truly not a slow burn process. So therefore, building truly purposeful brands is a large priority for beauty and personal care. And we're proud of our truly purposeful brands and know that purpose drives superior performance. So let me give a few examples out of our portfolio, how we're bringing purpose to life. So I'm going to cut here to some videos that will show the purpose coming to life on 3 brands that are a big part of our portfolio, part of the 5 billion euro brands that we have. I'm going to show Dove, I'm going to show one on Lifebuoy, and then I'm going to show one on Sunsilk. So enjoy the next couple minutes here. If I can get it to. There we go.
Girl, you're so young, but you see everything. What if we could show you a vision of beauty where no woman or girl were excluded?
Where fitness comes in all sizes.
Where all hair is professional.
Onde toda a pele é bonita.
Where we're shown exactly the same as everyone else.
Что женственность может быть сильной.
Where beauty isn't binary.
Donde mis canas se ven fantásticas con rojo.
Because if we show you a world where every woman is seen, then girl, you'll show us all.
I think it's like really important that there's at least one kid who can like see themselves in me. People have this idea that you have to be brave to be who you are.
It would mean so much not to be seen as different.
I'm glad that some little girl is going to see me and think, I could run that boardroom.
I think there was supposed to be 2.
Rexona.
No, that's not it. There's 2 more films here that I was going to show, but I guess they've been cut off. Maybe I'm getting over time here. I think, one thing I see with this film is every time I've shared it with my team and other people, the number of tissues that come out are quite incredible. So I'm sure there's a correlation between this film and the number of tissues being sold out there. If we get the 2 other films to play, I'll bring that back out. But I talked about building purposeful brands. And I think it's very important for me to highlight that purpose is not a substitute for product superiority and portfolio transformation. Therefore, we're equally committed to building a future-fit portfolio. Our core remains our top strategic priority. We'll continue to invest in our core brands and product superiority. And our ongoing product performance benchmarking, 98% of our products are either superior or parity versus competition. I think this gives us a tremendous competitive advantage in our core business. One example of superior products is one that Alan mentioned earlier in his presentation, which is Rexona Clinical Protection, which you see up here on the screen. Rexona is the world's #1 deodorant brand and the pioneer of deodorant technology. As you probably know, in the 1980s, we introduced the first antiperspirant active, and now we're changing the category all over again by developing a new game-changing technology in Rexona Clinical Protection. This technology delivers consumer-perceivable superior odor and wetness protection, resetting the consumer's expectations all over the world. This year, we started expanding Rexona's clinical efficacy to our consumers' favorite formats, aerosols and roll-ons. The launch is having a very strong consumer response in the markets that we're in so far, and we're seeing strong, 5-star reviews online. We're winning share, we're winning brand equity, and bringing new people into the segment. We have now doubled the size of the segment in just 6 months after the launch of this product. So now I'm going to take you to this next film that show how Rexona Clinical Protection and the product superiority that it has comes to life. See if I can get that. There we go. There we go.
Also available in spray. 3 times more protection. Let's put it to the test. In extreme heat situations, free from sweat and bad odor. In extreme effort situations, free from sweat and bad odor. New Rexona Clinical in spray. Rexona won't, will never, never ever, under no circumstances, let you down.
It's a wow, right? Okay, now let me flip to core on trend. It's absolutely crucial to stay relevant and contemporary with our core portfolio. We do this by shifting our core portfolio towards fast-growing and on-trend consumer spaces. Here, I'd like to show you an example from one of our oldest brands, Pond's, which is, believe it or not, a 172-year-old brand.
Yeah.
A couple years back, the brand embarked on a very exciting journey with the vision of making millennial and Gen Z girls fall in love with Pond's by tapping into the hottest beauty care trends and innovating with incredible speed. Today, we see that the brand has completely reinvented itself and is now growing in all the key markets that it plays in. On the screen, you'll see here some recent trend innovations from Pond's. For example, inspired by the new trends of cosmetocare, which is the hybrid of cosmetics and skincare, glowing creams have been launched under the Pond's brand. As face cleansers become more fun with new enjoyable transformative sensories, as you can see, Pond's clay cleansers were introduced in both face wash and face mask. Lastly, with girls experimenting with their looks and expressions and a rising trend of high-performance makeup removers, Pond's Cleansing Balm was launched, delivering the same quality of a prestige product for just a quarter of the price. So let me just share a quick film here that brings that to life. Again, remember, a 172-year-old brand.
It's playtime, time to play, clay to foam. It's playtime, bounce and glow, bounce and glow. Ooh.
New Pond's Cleansing Balm, melting from balm to oil at first touch. Removing all makeup and moisturizing skin deliciously.
Great. Well, I'm really proud of the Pond's team. This does not look like a 172-year-old brand. It looks like something that would have just been launched in the market. So last but not the least, I wanted to get into sustainable core. As you know, we recently announced 2 ambitious new commitments to help us keep plastic in the economy and out of the environment. First, for total Unilever, we'll have our use of virgin plastic in our packaging, and as part of that, we'll reduce our use of absolute plastic by more than 100,000 tons. Secondly, we'll collect and process more plastic packaging than we sell. All of this by 2025. And no doubt, our beauty and personal care brands are going to play a critical role to bring our corporate commitment to life. I'm very pleased to share with you our first bold move in this space is going to come from the Dove brand. Dove is taking positive action on plastic waste by launching one of the biggest plastic reduction programs in the global beauty industry. In a move that will reduce more than 20,500 tons of virgin plastic from its portfolio each year and support the creation of a circular plastics economy. Our Dove brand is making some significant changes to packaging and products within the better, less, no plastics framework. So let me just give you a little bit of detail on how we're doing that. So first, starting with no plastics initiatives. From next year, single packs of Dove's iconic beauty bar will be plastic-free globally. Better plastic initiatives. In line with Unilever's global commitment to have its use of virgin plastic by 2025, Dove will switch to new 100% recycled plastic bottles in North America and Europe by the end of this year. This will apply to all packs across all of the 3 brands ranges, including Dove, Dove Men Plus Care, and even Baby Dove. Dove will be the biggest brand in the world that has moved to 100% recycled packaging. This should send a clear signal to the global recycling industry that there is a huge consumer demand for recycled packaging. And we're going to continue to innovate across all of our brands to change the way we use plastic for good. Now let me move to Future Fit portfolio new brands. While growing our core brands, we've also stepped up the creation of new brands. In the last 2 years, we've launched more than 10 brands in different geographies to succeed in the hyper-fragmentation that I was mentioning earlier. Love Beauty and Planet is Unilever's homegrown brand that was launched in 2018, with here in the US being its first market. It's a brand created with purpose at its heart and plays a strategic role in our naturals portfolio across beauty and personal care. Through its endeavors and actions in making the planet cleaner, greener, and more beautiful, in a very short amount of time, this beautiful brand has driven strong engagement and following amongst millennials and Gen Z cohorts. LBP, as we call it, is in more than 30 markets already today, and it's on track to exceed over 100 million in turnover by the end of the year. The next one is Unilever Prestige. As a part of our portfolio transformation, we've acquired, as a portfolio beyond just Prestige, 17 companies since 2015. And undoubtedly, we've made the majority of our investments to build a Unilever Prestige unit. We have a portfolio of purposeful, on-trend prestige brands offering innovative products and outstanding beauty experiences. And I'm pleased to say that Unilever Prestige is now a 600 million euro turnover business. It's grown double digits in the past 12 months. And I can say that our ambitions to build a minimum 1 billion euro turnover prestige business remains. Now, flipping into the third strategic choice that I mentioned earlier is high growth channels. In a space that's obviously close to my heart, we're continuing to step up our e-commerce growth across omnichannel and pure players. And we're growing well ahead of the market at over 30%, and it's now contributing to over 7% of our BPC sales. We're also running pilots to develop our presence in new e-commerce channels like social selling. We now have a model of design for commerce that looks at portfolio, content, and demand creation in a differentiated manner to win in e-commerce. Our focus continues to build the right assortment which addresses pack sizes, value density dynamics, and sustainability. We are building integrated experiences across digital touchpoints and have stepped up our investments behind data-driven performance marketing, including partnerships with the e-commerce players that we all know. E-commerce is key to our BPC channel transformation and divisional strategy. We're already seeing some of the work coming through by focusing on a few key things. Number one is investing in our core brands. We're focusing on our core brands and bestseller SKUs in offline to drive our growth in e-commerce, addressing the right price, pack, and value density dynamics as mentioned earlier. We're launching new brands as well in this high growth demand space, such as Dr. Sweat you'll see on the screen here. Dr. Sweat is our new clinical deos brand that taps into excessive sweaters and is currently live in the US and in Germany. This innovation was designed with e-commerce in mind right from the beginning, from being value dense to having packaging that withstands the route to market. Using business models such as social selling, we have a brand called K-Bright. It's a new skincare brand that was first launched through social commerce in China. And our hero SKU, sold out in just 2.5 hours. It's incredible. Another high growth channel is beauty specialty. We're building our channel presence in beauty specialty, obviously via our prestige portfolio. And our prestige brands are currently sold in more than 20 countries right now. Leading retailers like Sephora globally, Ulta in the US, Space NK in the UK, and Mecca in Australia. Our brands serve this channel with additional education and dedicated training for beauty advisors to enable a holistic beauty experience for our consumers that are shopping it. For example, one of our newly acquired brands, Tatcha, can be found in already over 400 doors in the US Sephora market and is already ranked number 3 in the skincare category there. Now, I've spent a lot of time on our strategic choices, so let me just speak a little bit about some of the key enablers that will bring these strategic choices to life. Number 1 is digital transformation. As part of our digital transformation program, we're stepping up our performance and capabilities in data-driven marketing. Data-driven marketing leverages the power of data to move our consumer communications from mass marketing to mass customization to hyper-personalization at scale. We now have digital hubs up and running in all of our key markets, driving data-driven marketing at scale, and you'll get to see that over the next 2 days. Today, as beauty and personal care, we have over 500 million addressable and actionable digital IDs and over 75 million PII data. We're focusing on quality over quantity and in actioning programs which enable us to build meaningful relationships with our consumers. And by 2022, we'll have high-quality digital IDs of what we are expecting over 1 billion and over 200 million addressable PIIs. So far, the results are encouraging. Our efficiency and effectiveness has increased by over 25% in BPC and our overall precision marketing efforts. And while in performance marketing, the return on ad spend is over 2x, and in some cases as high as 3x. Later today, Justine Solheim, who's our EVP of Food and Refreshments here in the US, will briefly talk about digital hubs in his session. You'll get the opportunity to experience how our digital hubs operate. I invite you to join one or more of these sessions to just get a first-hand experience and feel for how these digital hubs look and feel like. Another enabler for us is going to be what's called agile ways of working. And for those that have been a part of the tech industry, like myself previous to this role, we used to call them 2 pizza teams. As we've transformed the way we do marketing and engage with our consumers, we're also transforming the way we work as an organization. In the last 12 months, we have run several agile organizational pilots, and it's seeing tremendous benefits in a few key areas like bringing clarity on priorities, speed and execution, as well as just building critical digital capabilities for us. In the next year, we're going to be rolling out agile ways of working across all key markets and categories to transform and just really modernize the way we work as an organization. We're going to use agile ways of working to focus on our priorities, execute with precision, and really learn at speed. You're going to hear more about agile ways of working when Lena comes up tomorrow. So in summary, I would just say that we're a leading global player in beauty and personal care with a strong portfolio, market position, attractive geographic footprint. We believe that we're well positioned for sustained profitable growth in the fast-changing and fragmented world of tomorrow. And our goal, again, is to accelerate top-line growth. And we're going to do this with the 3 strategic choices that I spent a lot of time on earlier: purposeful brands, building a future-fit portfolio, focusing on high-growth channels. And all these strategic choices will be enabled by digital transformation and agile teams. We believe that this is a model that can continue to deliver consistent, competitive, profitable, and responsible growth in tomorrow's complex and fast-moving world. So thank you. You got the film? Yep. Okay, great. Let's roll. Do you want me to click? No.
Every year, 1.2 million children under the age of 5 lose their lives to diarrhea and pneumonia. Many of these deaths can be prevented by the simple act of washing hands with soap. Tragically, this received very less attention. Lifebuoy made a bold commitment to change this scenario and created the world's largest hand-washing program, Help a Child Reach 5. We weaved powerful stories that got attention.
मेरा बच्चा 5 साल का हो गया।
5 साल में कौन सी बड़ी बात है?
ये गुंडापा का पहला बच्चा है जो 5 साल की उम्र तक पहुंचा है।
जग गई क्या? मैं 7 साल आगे से आई हूँ तुझे थैंक यू कहने। जब मैं छोटी थी तब तू हर बात पे हाथ धोती थी। माना सीखू गंजे का काबला सी जफी खुशा सी खुशी नी नाना।
We adopted the village of Migori in Kenya, Tusgora in India, and Bitobe in Indonesia, and induced behavior change. We leveraged India's telecom revolution to reach mothers without access to doctors through a unique program called Mobile Doctorni. A whopping 458 million people were taught hand washing. Lifebuoy contributed to lowering the under 5 mortality rate. And most importantly, washing hands with soap became part of the UN SDGs for 2030.
It is so decided.
Year on year, Lifebuoy continues to ensure that children don't lose their lives to something that can be prevented with the simple act of hand washing.
Great, thanks. Do we have time for, one more?
What's going on? Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel it coming strong. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Are you ready for it? Ooh, get ready now. Ooh, are you ready for it? Ooh, it's about to go down. Are you ready for it? Ooh, better get ready now, 'cause it's about to go down.
Great. I'm glad you got to see those 2 videos. Do we have time for questions? Yeah. 1 or 2 questions?
Thanks, Sonny. John Ennis from Goldman. I had a question on the digital transformation. So from your experience at Amazon, within which BPC subcategories do you believe you saw either the lowest level of consumer loyalty rates or the highest churn? And how that experience has maybe influenced the way you think now at Unilever around launching within new subcategories?
I see. Well, I think, the first question I wouldn't be able to answer without, revealing some information Amazon wouldn't be happy about. But I think in terms of the second question, as I was talking about how, digital is becoming more implicit versus explicit, one of the areas that we need to spend a lot of time on is how can we predict consumer behavior, and how can we be there with those predictive algorithms? So, programs that allow replenishment systems on automatic basis, I think is going to be a key area for us to focus a lot of attention and energy on. As consumers are trying to spend time on the areas that they want to spend time on, family, career, health, etc., if we can take some burden out of their daily life, that's where we're going to focus on. But it's going to require partnerships with the various players in the industry.
Hi, Jeremy Fialco, HSBC. When you look at the different big buckets of your portfolio, so skin cleansing, hair care, deo, skin care, and then you look at the, let's say, the purposeful nature of the brands or how future fit they are, where do you feel most comfortable with the brand portfolio that you've got, and where do you think that there is perhaps the most work that you need to do? Thanks.
Well, you know, our top 10 brands are generally healthy, and you know, the brands that I was showing you there, they're you know, the ones that are ready. I've shown you a couple of films here that you know, bring purpose to life. But you know, we always have to continually get better as consumers are shifting their behavior and their preferences. So I think one of the key things that we need to continually do is just stay close to the consumer and make sure that we're meeting their needs. One last question, and I'm getting the hook.
Hi there, Chris Pitcher from Redburn. Sonny, you've moved to an organisation where it has to balance e-commerce growth and traditional retail. And looking at the growth we're seeing in e-commerce in the division, it's almost as if e-commerce is delivering on the group targets. And actually the acceleration in growth is almost managing the rate at which sales are lost in traditional. Can you say, coming from the other side of the business, what you're going to do on traditional rather than just e-commerce to deliver?
Yeah, I think, you know, when I talked a lot about the portfolio and channel transformation, that's the key. You know, the growth in e-commerce is not coming really at the expense predominantly of, you know, offline. I think the consumers are just shifting their behavior. Yes, they're shifting their behavior to online, but they're also shifting their behavior to different channels within the offline environment. And what we need to do is continually transform our portfolio to fit in those channels like beauty specialty I was talking about. The prestige portfolio that we're getting into and accelerating is coming from a shift into the beauty specialty channels. So that's where we're going to focus our energy. Okay, so I think that's it for now. Look forward to speaking with you at the break and over dinner. Thank you.